All right. Well, good morning, everybody. It is 10:04 on a Monday. Thanks everybody for being here. Chris, you got this one recorded?
Recording and live, boss.
Okay, good. All right. Well, hope everybody had a great weekend. Let's hear some good stuff this morning before we turn it over to the man of the hour. Anybody got some really good stuff to share? I know Nate put out a video on Fannie Mae. Was it Fannie and Freddie coming down, Nate? Is that what you shared?
I think he's muted and stepped away, I think.
Okay. All right. Who else? Everybody's so good. They're so humble. Clarence. Clarence is on. Good morning.
I'm good.
Nate, did you want to reiterate that video you sent out about Fannie and Freddie rates coming down?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, I read. I like to put out the video. I like to do one
Right.
every morning. It's so funny when I used to put those out. All those are to get people thinking, right? Obviously, because I don't go on like Ricky does. I stop it at 30 seconds just to make people think and read the article. But I read every morning. I read everything that Google pops up new on a real estate article. I just skim through it to keep it. And it's saying the rates are going to come down smaller, but basically that article was saying, we're looking at, 6% by the end of the year, maybe the first of next year. So I mean, I just really think we need to educate our clients. What I'm trying to set up with my clients is right now at least in our market, we have a little bit of inventory. If you're looking at properties that are affordable, and in our market, affordable housing is considered 800 and under, right? There's almost nothing, and you'll get multiple offers on anything that's 700,000, 680, like a little house that just needs a lot of work. You're going to get multiple offers on that. But in our market at 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, which would I hate to say it, which would kind of be the middle pricing now, which is a lot of money. And I understand those mortgages are 7, 8 thousand, but there are choices out there. And statistically, people who bought during COVID, they say over 70%. I've seen 70, and I've seen 72, 73% of the people were not happy with their choice of home. They just weren't happy. They felt rushed. There were multiple offers on everything. So and I'm not just saying this to try to sell houses and go with whatever the market does, but truly, if somebody would just buy now and do an arm, do a rate buy down, do anything to keep them under that 6% or maybe a low 6%. They buy now, they get the home they want, they can negotiate on the price a little bit, they can do things now where we couldn't do it before. If they do a 3 year or a 5 year fixed, when those rates come back down, we can refinance that back to a better mortgage rate. But you know as well as I do, Frank, and I know Elgin and Sid, Michael, all you guys, as soon as that rate hits 575, it's going to be bonkers again. There's going to be all the inventory is going to disappear. All of our woes that are still holding on through 2024 and now 2025 looks like it's going to be the same pain point of not having, not being able to really make a lot. I mean, we're paying our bills. We're still here. We're not going out of the industry, but from what I'm seeing, nobody's getting rich in this market, right? And like for instance, today I just sent out 300 personal handwritten letters, personal letters to go into a neighborhood. I'm going to go buy another neighborhood to look for a buyer, and I'm going to get 200 more properties. I'm writing down the addresses, like that hardcore prospecting just to keep things going. When we come up and we're listing agents, and when this dam breaks at 5 3/4, all the inventory is going to disappear. We're going to sell everything, and then our clients are going to be like, "Oh, I wish I would have bought a house last year when there was more inventory." So I just think about reiterating what's happening with the rates and trying to educate the public and educate agents. Like we don't need to be doom and gloom because of these interest rates, because the agent, if they have an issue selling a 7% or a 6.5% rate, if they don't have a six, then they have to go with the issue of multiple offers. So we always have pain points as real estate agents on how to help our clients buy and sell property. So
Right.
that's probably a long-winded answer to your short question, but I don't think the interest rates, I think they're a gift to the person who really wants to buy their dream home right now if they can talk to a mortgage professional and use some creative financing to get that property locked down. I remember I bought my house I'm sitting in now in 2021. And we thought, oh my gosh, that's when prices were through the roof. They're never going to go higher. Look, guys, they always go higher. And now we're 500,000 more than when we bought it, right? So So, and that was 21, 22, 23, 24. We're going into our fourth year. So I don't expect them always to raise that much, but over time, we know our property values are going to raise. So that's kind of what I was speaking to this morning in that video.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, lately I've been listening. I don't know if I said this on Friday. There's a guy out there named Jared James, who's a guru of real estate. And he mentioned number one, Rocket bought up
Redfin.
I saw
Crandall.
that. I
Yeah.
saw that.
And he came out this weekend and said something about they bought the number one loan mortgage company, a company called Mr. Cooper. They bought a Mr. Cooper mortgage, and I've heard of them. I've never had a dealing with them of any type, but I didn't realize that they were a big player. Well, now Rocket's going after them. And so Leo Pereira was right. This is the year of teams and acquisitions. And I'll tell you, it's coming to fruition. But anyway,
Yeah.
Nate, for that.
And Gary Keller, he sold about 50% of his shares of Keller Williams, his own personal shares, and basically to like an investment firm and Lone Wolf Technologies.
Yeah, Stone Temple, I think is the name of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's really something. So anyway, does anybody else have anything before we turn it over to Sid? Elgin, you got anything?
No, I'm waiting to hear Sid.
All right. Well, let's turn it over to the man of the hour, somebody that I've really grown in respect and just admire this guy for not only his business, but his friendship and just being a real class dude. Just have to tell you that. So, Sid, you have the floor. Take it away.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And everybody, I want this to be extremely interactive. I want you to stop me. I'm just going to share things that I do from my experiences. And hopefully this will help you in working with buyers. If you're working with a buyer either via internet lead or referral, there's a psychology behind it. And you always got to get behind the psychology of kind of like what we were just talking about now. It's almost like the opposite. Like if a person's selling, why would they be selling? And in the same way, from a buyer's perspective, why would they be buying? What is their motivation? And kind of the topic of this is like, how do you convert the tire kicker, the lifetime renter, to turning into a buyer? It's a great question because so many people are afraid. If you let fear rule your life, well, it'll just destroy you. And we'll have this conversation in 5 years and you'll still be in the exact same place. So one of the main things that I do when I work
Sid,
with,
excuse me for interrupting. Could you
Yeah.
do me a favor? There's some people on here who don't really know you. Can you kind of
yeah.
give about a 2-minute bio on you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm mainly based in Portland, Oregon, but we do Oregon and Washington. We do a lot of the coastal properties. We've been with EXP for about 4 years now, and I've been licensed for about 5. And we started off at another brokerage and just came over here. And since we've joined EXP, we're a husband and wife team. It's just me and my wife. We've been able to double our business, and we tap into all of EXP's coaching. Trust me, we tap into all of their referral networks, all of the affinity programs. I mean, this year alone, we've already gotten 3 or 4 deals through EXP's affinity programs. And the affinity programs, they'll take like a larger cut, but here's the thing. It gets you to Icon. It gets you to Icon, and we've been very, very fortunate that, we've now gotten Icon 3 years in a row. And it's just a whole lot of hard work and stuff like that. But I'm just super grateful for it. It's incredibly humbling to have rock stars like Nate on here who, far exceed everything that we do. But we're pretty much just independent agents, but we're getting things done. I'm super grateful for it. I'm super grateful for what EXP has provided to us in leveling up our business, in going way beyond just, kind of poking around as a solo agent. We have dreams, we have visions, we have ideas of things, a direction that we're going to go in. And I want as many of you as possible to come along in this dream. We have so much opportunity to XP. There's so much opportunity in real estate. Nobody's capping you. I don't care what the market's doing. I really, really don't care. There are transactions that need to be done. People are moving, people are buying, people are selling. Life is happening. And if you don't constantly get coached, trained, and on your A game, you will be left behind. If you don't tap into AI tools, you will be left behind. But with that being said, I've tapped into EXP's coaching. I've tapped into their tools and their resources, and we are winning more listings now than we ever have. We started off as buyer's agents, like most people in the industry, just helping buyers. You get the internet lead and you nurture it and everything like that. And now we are shifting. There's a huge shift for us. We're now turning into listing agents. We got like 4 more listings coming live here in the next probably month or so, just some prep work and things like that. And it's exciting. And I just want to encourage you. There is so much hope for you. There is nothing holding you back at all. Nothing. Zero zilch. Don't ever buy into the hype of, governmental changes or politics or interest rates or anything like that. People need homes. They need shelter. They need that safety net, and life is still happening. You know what? Grandbabies are still being born. And I can't tell you how many clients that we sold the house. And 6 months later, they're like, we need to sell, we're moving. And I'm like, I just sold you your house. I don't care. Got a new grandberry. We're moving to, who cares? Texas, California. It doesn't matter. We are moving. And I'm like, okay. All of our business is referral. All of it.
Wow. Sid, let me
Um,
ask you something. There's
yeah.
some people on here that are struggling right now with buyers.
Yeah.
What would be the most encouraging, motivating thing that you could say to them that are really, really struggling, trying to get them off the fence? And what can you impart in words of wisdom to some people that's not having as much success as you are?
Absolutely. You're like, yes, interest rates are not 3%. They're in the sevens, right? And so to a lot of the people, that's that mental shock, like, oh, and it puts them into paralysis. Here's what I tell first-time home buyers. In our market, a starter home is about $450. So you take the price of your, average market first-time home buyer purchase price. So I just did, just before the call here, I did a quick calculation. So let's say it's $450. Here's how I work with a person who's paying rent, because here in Portland, rents are consistently going up no matter what is happening in the economy. And I just say, look, you could stay where you are, and in 5 years, you'll probably be in the exact same place. Real estate on the conservative side, markets always shift. I don't have the crystal ball, but let's be conservative. Let's take your $450,000 purchase price. And let's just say that it only goes up about 5% a year on average. Some years it'll go higher, some years it'll go less. But do you feel it's safe to say that conservatively 5% a year? And I asked them the question, and they're like, I suppose. And no, let's just pretend. Let's strip it back. Super simple. Going up 5% a year. So at 450,000 times 5%. So if you paid 450 in 1 year, you'll get about 22,500 in increased equity. So now here's what I want you to think. In 5 years, you will be conservatively, let's just peel it back. You'll be probably about $100,000 more richer in equity. Or you can keep on paying rent. You can keep on paying interest, and we'll have the conversation in 5 years, and I'll ask you, are you $100,000 richer? And they'll like, no. This is why, yes, it seems mentally, it's like, oh my gosh, 7%. I understand that. Maybe right now is your mortgage payment going to be higher than what you're paying on rent? If you're not putting down a large, yes, it probably will be. But let me ask you this. Is your rent going to go up next year by 10%? In Portland? Yes, it's going to. And then 10% again. And then 10% again. And then 10% again. Or, so you can keep doing the same thing, which is living in fear and the paralysis there. or just let me help you on this journey, getting into something. And then in 5 years, do you feel really comfortable conservatively? You could have $100,000 in equity. And they're like, yeah, because I really try to just knock everything back and make it as idiot proof as possible. And for me, that really helps converting a renter into a buyer.
Okay.
Your market's different. California, you get the 20% a year and then you get the drop of 20. It's the up and down, right? That's okay.
Yeah.
If I really strip it back, we've had about a 10% increase consistently here. So when I'm stripping it back to 5, it's being extremely realistic with a buyer.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Sid at this point?
Hey Sid, I'm always looking for lead sources, and it's funny. I've heard you say this before, and I actually just keep forgetting. Do you mind, we're all in different markets here, that you tell us, maybe you could write in the chat or something, all the different services that you use? Do you do reload? You do all this stuff through EXP? I don't think that I use enough services that EXP offers.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are you, maybe all you guys know? I don't really know what's available to me from EXP. Maybe somebody else might have that same question that I could get referrals from for me or for my team, or I don't care to pay a referral fee. We're always
Yeah.
trying to use different sources.
Yeah, exactly. So EXP has a division called and I'm not an expert at it, but I have the basics. So we have our division called affinity programs, and
Affinity?
it's affinity. The affinity is basically you have affinity, and then that's where you have all those different divisions like express offers. Where's my hand? Express offers, bundle select, the relocation, the REO, the different kind of divisions. But affinity is the kind of the main branch, as you might say, or the division with EXP. And affinity's whole job within EXP is to generate lead opportunities through partnerships. For example, EXP through the affinity program, Chase Bank. Chase Bank is a nationwide bank. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when a person goes to Chase Bank, their local bank, and gets pre-approved for a loan, EXP has some kind of contract that if they're going through the process with Chase Bank, they fill out the application, they get pre-approved, and they ask them, are you working with a realtor? Yes or no? No, I'm not. Would you like us to refer you to a top quality agent? Yes. In our market, we get the call. Somebody who's pre-approved with Chase Bank, they are a Chase Bank pre-approved. And you think about it from a buying perspective, they've got 30 days to get under contract, right? Because in principle, once you got a pre-approval letter, it's kind of, it's a 30-day ticking time bomb. It's an awesome lead. We probably
what?
got 2 of those this year.
So how do I find it? Do I go to Enterprise? Can you type it in the chat?
I
Like, how do I find it?
I honestly don't know. It's just our affinity. I will get it to everybody, but basically, that's one of our relationships that EXP has, and so I'll have to find out like what the name of that particular lead source is. But
I just didn't know if there might be a dashboard, kind of like when you check under Affinity Program, and there's all the different things they have. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think you can do that in workplace. I think you can do that in workplace, Nate. And I think it's and within there, because I'm signed. I actually got one from Chase earlier last year, from the buying side, but it was further out than it was further out that it was further out than I was willing to go. And and they kind of ask you, is this too far? Because they don't want you don't want to get a bad mark.
Right.
If you agree to the referral, you got to make sure you come through and all of that kind of stuff. They do us. I'm sure Sid knows better than I do. They have like a survey and some other stuff they send out to the clients, and all those are points for or against you, with the service. They also through Chase, because I did get one of these, as at least I got notified about it, is they do have REOs. They do have REOs through Chase as well, and they kind of notify you, when they're out, and then I have not had one that I've successfully had. I've only had a couple of notifications, but there is a relationship, and they do send it out.
Yeah, they do. It is relationship based. You gotta, nurture the relationship. That's why I go to EXP cons. That's why I go to these events. I try to work all the EXP executives and all these different divisions, and I make sure they know my name and what markets. And you know what? A year later, we get the call and we're the designated person, for in our little region, and it works. It pays for the EXP con.
I did not know this, and I bank with Chase. Man,
Yeah.
I'm
Sid.
going there this morning, and we're going to have a whole new conversation. I can tell you that.
And to be quite honest, the Chase loan officer, they probably don't know about it. They've got this
Yeah.
system where they're clicking the button.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
that is the power of having a national brokerage instead of a micro franchise in your little section of the town.
Wow.
Sid.
Anybody else have a question?
Yeah.
Sid, I do. Just kind of a thought came to me as you were talking and all this stuff. Another thing to plug into as far as for leads, and this would be for both buyers side, as you were talking about our affinity division, made me think of since we have now a whole relocation division of all these agents who don't want to be formal or official, they're not paying the monthly fees, they're not part of an association, but they're agents with eXp Realty.
Mhm.
And this is how they can make money. Maybe they're retired or anything like that. Have you thought to, or have you worked on maybe setting up a network with solely those agents or building the relationship with those agents? Because those are agents that have to refer their business out. And they can just send it to the referral division and the referral division will try to place it, but they can choose who they're going to send it to. So as far as maybe going straight to the relocation division and saying, hey, can I have a list of our relocation agents in this area, or one from each state or one from each city, so that you can start building a relationship with those agents particularly. Obviously you'd want ones closer to you, but if you did that, you would have a direct access to somebody who can't do the business, who's looking to get their referrals out, and you can start building that lead generation source as well.
We get about, probably 4 or 5 relocation deals a year.
Okay.
That's
It's-
good.
it's-
Yeah.
Again, these are all the little mini things that helped us to get to Icon. I'm just like you guys. I'm a normal guy. I'm a normal agent, but I tap into these lead sources, and these are the little baby steps. There's like that one more to get to Icon. That one, and we do it. I was like, when relocation, they take a hefty cut. And if you only think of just that one deal, you're thinking incorrectly. You want to get the Icon because then you get the 16,000 in stock. That's my retirement plan. That's my, and revenue share. That's the direction I'm going in. So, but back to your question, I personally just know about the national thing, and I don't specifically hunt down relocation, but we seem to have gotten on the short list for relocation because they probably rate us, and we always go above and beyond for our clients. I can
Not
flat out tell you the
relocation.
relocation division said, we called other agents and they didn't want it because it was too hefty of a cut.
Well, they take 40%.
It's like 50. So it's crazy. And if you got an agent that's on a team and then the team split, they're like, oh, but me, my mindset is I'm going to Icon. I'm going to get Icon.
Nice.
Last year we had a drop in sales because we just had a lot of life things happen. We barely made Icon, but I made it. But you know what? It's just those little bitty deals from the reloads, and that's what got us there.
Yeah.
And you can do it too. There's nothing holding you back.
Yeah. And Sid, I wasn't talking straightly about just the reloads. I was talking about the referral division, the particular individual agents. They're maybe not in relocation. They could be agents in your city.
Absolutely.
You could go find all the agents that are in relocation, that are in the referral division that are in your city, right?
You have the referrals. I probably, there's another venture to be an Icon. There's an Icon referral group, and I've probably nothing huge, but probably 2 or 3 deals a year, straight from somebody, on the Icon thing, looking for an agent in, Portland, Oregon, and I'm like, bam, that's me.
Right. That's nice.
Wow.
But it's all these little bitty things, that help us.
We call them little fires everywhere. Little fires everywhere, because I don't know if you know it, guys. I'm sure some of you do, but I don't know if you say her name. I would call it Benston or whatever, that just came to EXP from Real. That's Utah Life. She was sending me some information one time, and I know that she didn't mean to send me this, but she sent me her sheet of every single place where all her deals came from. Every single deal was outlined. It was like 40 different sources. And there wasn't any one thing. I looked at it and it got canceled, but we still had it. We threw it in the thing, but it was literally 10 deals from here. Sphere obviously is the most, right? So your sphere of it. And then it was like Ojo Op City, 4. It's like Realtor.com, 7. Zillow Flex, 48. It was just little relocation, but it was just like 40 some. You just have to do it all. You just have to meet tons of people, talk about real estate,
Mm-hmm.
and be active all the time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's, again, we're normal agents. We do good. We're not like 100 deals a year. We're consistent and things like that. But it's tapping into those sources that are right there in front of you.
I want to give you a little bit of encouragement. I've heard you say this a couple times, and just for as you, it's not how much money you bring in, and I know Elgin's going to go amen. It's how much you keep, okay?
Mhm.
Because there are, you may say, well, I think we did 126 this year, but literally by the time I paid my bills and my 30,000 overhead and all that, I didn't like save any money at that like I paid my bills. I did everything. I went on I lived my life. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great, right? And I've seen people that were closing 500 and 600 deals do the exact same thing. So if you're closing 30 transactions and you're making, let's say 400,000 and you keep 350,000, I think Frank's shaking his head there. We all have different business models, but sometimes, we look at the people who run the big teams or do that. I don't even know that's the best business model there is. I'll tell you guys, because if you're a good selling agent like you are, like Elgin is, or Michael, some of you guys, and you're doing your thing and you don't have all this headache and all this overhead and all these people pulling at you all the time, and you have a peaceful life and you can make, let's say, 20, 30, 40 grand a month. I mean, is there any better business model than that? I think as real estate agents, to go into the 7-figure levels, we have to start investing. I don't think in commissions. I'm not saying there aren't people who I've made a 7 figures in commissions before,
Mhm.
but to do that every year is just not realistic in most people's world. I'm not saying there's not people out there that do it, but I think I think you're a perfect example. If you work with your wife, you treat your clients good, you're really proud of that fact, you save a lot of money, you're saving for retirement, you're doing a little bit of invest, like it just seems from an outside perspective, your whole total package is very put together. And I think you really should be proud of that. And I would equate that, you know, to maybe the way Elgin has done his business. Just, I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but it always just seems very steady, very put together, very strategically thought out. And he doesn't do what anybody else pressures him to do. This is just from my experience. He does him and Pilar's plan. And that's carried in with his grandbabies and his doggone USC graduates and all those great things that we brag about what our life really means. So I think you should be proud of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I-
I
Sid,
give you
what,
guys some background. I worked in corporate America for 20 plus years, as a sales executive. I hated my job. I was good at what I did. I was the vice president for Tony Robbins' website division. I earned my keep.
I did not know that.
You know what? I only been licensed for 5 years. I love the people I'm working with now way more than the,
He's been
you know,
licensed for 5 years. Look at Elgin. Elgin, can you imagine what Sid's going to do at year 15?
I know, man.
Oh,
That's crazy.
you know, but seriously, I love the people I work with now way better than some boring corporate vice president who, yeah.
Hey,
And I'm
like
meeting people now that I want to be when I grow up.
and you look at Ralph Payne. He hasn't missed one word you've said. I've been watching him stare at that daggone. He is soaking it up like a sponge. And by the way, thank you, because I'm looking at look at my rev share, and it's all coming from El Paso and Oklahoma. Have you guys been watching the rev share? Every time I see 5 people, I go in there and look, and I'm like, Ralph, 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 Ralph.
Let's go. Let's
So, hey, you're
go.
appreciated back here in California, man. We're this LA crowd, man. EXP's tough here. I don't know, but you're crushing it, whatever you're doing.
Well, I appreciate all the value you guys are giving. So, just me giving back, you know what I'm saying? I'm appreciative to everything that you guys give to help me be strong and help me doing what I'm doing. So thank you.
Yeah, we all work together, man. It's a good thing.
Ralph's a
I,
machine.
one thing I think that Nate said too, which is really cool. And thank you for the props, Nate. All the time, anytime you say something nice, it's always nice to hear somebody say something good about you. But I really think that one of the big things is to, and which is difficult, is to structure your business at whatever it is the way you want to do it, and not look at what other people are doing. Because like you might look at Nate and like and you're like, man, they and all you see are the accomplishments. You see all the stuff that looks really good, but then you don't see behind the curtain. And you don't see, you don't see how many people come through his organization. You'll see, I mean, he doesn't have 40 people working for him all the time. You don't see,
I'm down to
the money.
24 with this market.
Right. And you
24.
don't see the money, you don't see the money that goes out. And that's a whole nother job. There's a whole nother stress level of that. Then by the same token, you look at someone, like myself that hates to spend money on stuff like that. But I realized a long time ago I was not good at being a manager. Like I would not be good at what Nate's doing. So instead of me sitting around say, damn, I wish I was Nate. I just have to be the best version of me that I can be, and then be happy and satisfied. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every now and then I be like, hey, God, dog it. Nate's ass just sold another 55,000 properties. I wish I could, but it's not that big of a deal. You do whatever it is, that you do. I have a couple of good friends that are with other companies, and I was talking to one of them yesterday, and we all kind of started at the same time. We went to junior high together. I know these guys, and they do good business. They're on the other side of the valley mostly, and all of a sudden they're luxury agents. And I was asking one of the guys, I was like, man, what is it that you did that is like just so different? How did you niche yourself into that? And it's funny, both of them said in different versions, we started going to different restaurants, we started going to different happy hours, we joined country clubs, they started just putting themselves into places where money was at. And one friend said, yeah, he goes, but I still have to sometimes go and sit open. I got an open house at this dog place. It's terrible. I got to do in Woodland Hills today for 2.6 million. And I'm like, okay. But then to find out that next, couple of weeks, he's closing on a 26.6 million dollar deal in Sunset. So yeah, that 2.6 to him looks like, a fixer, for some of us. But you know what? The point is that though, he talked about how he went a long time without making sales because he was just trying to get into this niche. So now it's worked for him. So I mean, can you really do that? Like that would kill me. I couldn't go months and months and months and not have a transaction close because I'm working on something big. That would I would too be worried about the big deal's going to fall apart and my life is over. So you have to just do what's good for you and roll with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Sid, let's kind of put a bow on it, kind of wrap it up. Your closing thoughts for people that want to get more business and get their buyers and sellers off the fence.
Yeah. My thing is with a buyer, interview them. Get a really good interview process that don't just go like, I got the center lead. I got to go show them a house. Do not suffer from commission breath. Sit down, meet them for coffee, and listen to what their needs are. Here's the big thing I tell buyers and why they end up hiring me compared to the 10 million other agents in my town. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm going to help you buy a home and I'm going to walk with you during the journey. And if I feel a home is not right as a professional, I'm going to tell you, you should not buy this. But with that being said, I represent you. And if you say, Sid, I want to buy this house, I will give you my opinion, but I will put in the offer and help walk you through. But I think the big thing is interview your buyers because once you interview them, what I mean by interview is listening, what are the real needs? Then you can narrow down instead of running all over town showing 50 houses till you figure out what they really need. That's the point I'm trying to get at. I get the buyer's representation agreement during the coffee and I do that automatically. And if they're not, comfortable with that, then they're not the right fit for me. But I never sell houses. I help people buy houses.
Does anybody have any questions for Sid before we wrap up?
Sid, are you just real quick? I don't want to keep it going. I need to go too. But what are you doing with revenue share? Are you put much energy into it? Like I seem to be able to get people to come, to my team, and I'm bringing them a couple, maybe I don't know, one and an average of 1.5 a month, two maybe every couple 3 months.
Yeah.
But what are you seeing? Like in your area, is EXP growing? Is it being accepted? Is it because if you look at LA, we have no EXP growth here really.
Yeah.
I'm not making excuses. I can't figure it out. I'm going to meet with Dan Beer and Kyle Whistle. They're going to meet. I'm going to Scottsdale to see them next month, just to sit with them personally and be like, why can't we get LA? And be like, what am, I want to be the one to try to do something. I just can't. Sometimes you get stuck and you need some other ideas and stuff like that. And I talked to Brent last week, but I
Yeah.
need to get another perspective. What do you see in Portland, where you're at?
I think more, if I could rephrase that for Oregon, they're a lot more open to it, I think. And the people in our community have like seen how we've grown. So we're finally getting people from our old office that are kind of starting to turn around, and people are calling us. But I was actually quite surprised that I struggled at the beginning with rev share, but now I'm starting to I feel like I'm getting some traction, and actually got a big meeting with a big team today with Brent Gove that I've been talking to him for 4 months now.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not easy, but I see
not easy.
El Paso and Oklahoma. I don't know I mean, Ralph is killing it, so
Yeah.
it's just different. It seems like I'm not taking anything away from, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
I'm having a really hard time. For example, I called a gentleman here in Calabasas. He has 45 agents. He wants to go to 100. He did
Mhm.
260 some million. He does big high dollar properties. And I started getting some sort of relationship. We went to lunch once and this and that. The last time I even mentioned, and he left another brokerage, went to Compass. Now he wants to leave Compass.
Mhm.
And he talked to me. Last time we had a great lunch, met a couple times. We were going over ideas. I just breathed the word EXP. He wouldn't return my calls for 5 months. So
Mhm.
I just stopped dead for 5 months. Then I called him last week and was talking, and he talked to me again, started telling me about something. And I said, hey, I'm going to go to this network meeting. You should come. You could just tell it just turned off the lights. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why, So I'm
Yeah,
just trying to,
But
San
you know
Diego,
what?
they do that.
San
You know,
Diego accepted it. I don't know why LA won't accept it.
but you know what, Nate? I think too. A lot of it is because we're so big out here. Because if you look in the city of LA, the city of LA, EXP is growing, and also you start looking. You look more out toward Rancho Cucamonga and Upland.
Or
Out
Leo.
that way, what's his name, Leo and Will Hickens and those guys, and they went and they got a building and all that kind of stuff. So you with Rosie's at Rodriguez, now that whole little crew out there. Yeah, I think it's our area in specific, this side of Santa Clarita and the San Fernando Valley, and I don't know why either, but they seem to be it seemed like they jumped on early, and then now they I don't know, but some other areas out there seem to be at least in my opinion.
Yeah, and I
I think
think more of a side,
the co-sponsorship's going to really help.
yeah, I think so. I think yeah, I think it will. And I mean, look, we're all have to sell houses anyway, so we just keep introducing it, and hopefully someday we all want to sign a big influencer under us that brings in 300 or 400, right? Of course we do. So I guess we just keep doing it like Eldon says, along with everybody else. And sometimes it hits people in 6 months, and sometimes it hits people in 6 years. And I'm sure we could look at Brent and how many people he has and think it's all rosy, but he looks tired. And he told me he paid Ed Millette 100,000 just for that one. Plus he had all those speakers. So think about his stress level and over it when it seems like the weight of a whole company is on your shoulders, right?
Yes.
So we don't want to look at that like it's all gravy either. So I think all of us just need to keep working and enjoy what we're doing. But you've been an inspiration today. I've enjoyed the meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
thank you,
Thanks.
Sid. You're one of the
And
great contributors to the Winter Circle call on Mondays. Thanks everybody for being here, and we're going to let you go. We look forward to seeing you next Monday. And oh man, I got a lot to share, but the time is cutting short.
Mhm.
And if there's anything that you guys need, please do not be afraid to reach out to Elgin, Michael, Nate, myself, Sid. We're all in this together, folks. We are all in
We
this
are.
together. We are. So have a great week, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
See you guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you.